My Opinion podcast.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm your host, Jay Negus.
I'm Nicole Rose.
What's wrong, Jay? All gone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
See today now.
Today.
Big time. Big guest, yeah.
Big homie.
Craig Pinkney.
All right.
Yeah.
In the building.
Come on.
Happy to have you here, bro. Trust me.
Finally.
Bigger
things, really.
So.
Cameraman, I'm filming you at the background as well.
Well gone.
You get me? For those that don't know Craig, we know who he is and what he's about. Yeah. Those with criminology, urban youth specialist, flipping lecture at Birmingham UCB. Yeah. Lecturing in criminology and criminal justice. Sorry, my apologies. And he also has a PhD. Yeah. No joke. Big time serious guy. Yeah.
You get it.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm gonna try.
You get me?
Come on, fam.
Bro. Trust me, it's
Yeah,
big
man.
things.
But I've even evolved from some of them things there. You get what I'm saying?
Okay.
Like I left the university and I'm running my own company now called Solve, the Centre for Youth Violence and
Yeah, I'm
Conflict,
aware of that, yeah.
which is kind of like a national project that works with a range of different things, which we'll go into in a moment, man. But first and foremost, man, manners and respect. You know what I mean? I feel like these types of things, like podcasts, it gives platform to individuals that are doing the work on the ground and making the world see what we're doing. So we have to big up you lot as well. So without people knowing necessarily who I am, without these type of situations there, people don't know what people are doing. So respect to all of that as well, man.
Nah, man, anytime, come on now. JMO, you get it, that's what we do. Community thing, you get it.
So, I'm aware that your area of expertise is in youth violence, urban street gangs, trauma and black desistance.
Yeah, desistance. Yeah,
What's that, fam?
Desistance just really means the process that causes crime to stop.
Is it repetitive?
That causes crime to stop.
Yeah, that's all desistance means. The process that causes crime to stop.
Okay.
So the process is the most important part of the sentence.
So the solution.
What does the process look like?
So
the process is multifaceted and it's not one way. Yeah. So whereas sport and fitness might be your thing, and next man might be like, you know what, now my thing's music. Or next person's like, my thing's hair and beauty, because that's what's therapeutic to me. You get what I'm saying? The next person might be like, you know what, it needs therapy. So focusing on what that process is specifically for black men is what ultimately I've been doing throughout my journey, working with young people.
Okay.
And that's exactly what we need. You feel me? But big dog, I was gonna say, reel off the list for me again though, slowly. The list. So we got criminologists. We have to explain. I don't think they know
what these things
like obviously we know Craig. You get me? Obviously we've always known Craig. You get me? Cause you're from
every time I
from
see
the
you, we're
bits.
eating food though.
Bro, we always eating food. You get me? You eat a lot more than me, my dog. But what I'm trying to say, don't try to put us in the same boat, fam. But what I'm trying to say is, reel off the list though slowly.
Yeah. So criminology.
All right then.
Yeah. Urban youth specialist.
All right then.
Yeah. Lecturer. Yeah. So university, UCB. Yeah. He's got a PhD. And was a lecturing in criminology and criminal justice or something like that. Yeah. So
you want to break them ones down?
Yeah.
Well, you know, it's yo. I just want people to recognize and realize PhD. Do you know? Listen.
I'm not there yet, you know. I've got about a year and a half yet. I'm on my PhD.
You research PhD, but even so,
I'm almost there.
Even so, like a PhD, that's academic.
It's a top in it.
But like, so basically. We're talking about a doctor of philosophy.
Yeah, doctor in social science.
So that means that basically, you're so bad like, your thing, they'll just say to you, you know what, we trust you to go and study what you want. And like, you'll be able to speak it at university level.
I think I already can. I think for me, honestly, doing a PhD was just kind of showing a man in the hood that, listen, you can be from the block. And you can reach at the highest level. Like I'm from Hockley, like B18 is where I'm from, born and bred. You get me? So all the man them that are from the Hockley flyover up until Benefit Street, my thing is always showing that, you know what, man can come from the block, not necessarily do what all the man them are doing, regardless of what that is, but reach to the highest standard of academia, not lose yourself, not sell out, not be an individual that turns their back on their community. And that's what I've always been about, but that doesn't start and end with me. Because when I look at like my family members, they've been doing that. Like for those of our people that don't know about my family, my grandma and my granddad, you know, in the early like 60s and 70s, these were individuals that started community projects from their household. When Muhammad Ali came to open up the Muhammad Ali Centre, it was, you know, my grandma and others were kind of pioneers in that particular time. You get me? So when you think of things like Saturday school that many of us went to growing up, like 104 and all those things in Brum, understand that my grandparents are the people that were some of the pioneers ultimately around that. So a lot of our community activists that we look up to now, they were youths in my grandma's house, if that makes sense. You get what I'm saying? So when you look at like some of like my family members, I guess everybody knows my Uncle Hector, you know, from Handsworth, Mr. Handsworth.
Come on,
you get what I'm saying? So it's in my genes, it's in my DNA, I guess. You know, like how it is, you know, you grow up as a teenager, you kind of see certain things that's going on. You get pulled in left, right, but I would say that I had a foundation. So it's mad because I always say to man, like, I feel like I'm Trey from Boys in the Hood. Okay. You get what I'm saying? Like Lawrence Fishburne was like how my dad was moving. You get what I'm saying? So when I'm saying it's like, yo, watch out some of the man them that you're rolling with and certain things that's happening, and then boom, a mad thing would happen, national news, and mad things happen, and you're like, rah, these are man that we were playing football only a couple of weeks ago, or man were playing tracking or hide and seek, and
I said tracking, you know.
They're the type of things that you know that kind of you remember of kind of what it is. So I think when I talk about that journey, you know, I can't forget about those kind of ancestors and those that came before us. And I always say that all I do is just stand on their shoulders. Yeah. So when we're talking about youth work, interestingly, is something that I've always wanted to do. But it's mad because many of you know that when I kind of went college, my thing was basketball. And the only reason why I was playing basketball because I was terrible at school. So despite all of those things I've just said to you, you get to like year 10, year 11, you're just like, nah, I'm not really on the education thing still. And then, you know, you leave school with GCSEs, it's hard to get in. But my thing was, as long as I had kind of a vent, I've always been kind of good. So like sport was one of the things that helped me when I kind of got to like my 16, 17 and whatever. And because I was playing for like Bullets and a team called Birmingham Excel at the time, it's mad because when I started playing with that team, not only was I playing basketball, but it was also coaching youths. So when I started coaching at Newtown Community Centre, I would say that was probably my earliest experiences of working with young people. But it's mad because when you grow up in a certain area, you're always kind of given what I call the narratives of the elders. Don't go Newtown, you don't go here, you don't go there. And it's kind of like, but why can't I go those places? I actually don't have a problem with no one. You might have a problem with
those are your narratives.
But I don't. So I'm finding myself in Newtown working and shook, thinking, yo, it's about to go off. Yeah, man, I'm walking in the building and I'm thinking, rah, what might go off? And man, so the man are feeding off your energy. They're walking in the building, because my man's looking like that. And it's probably because I'm shook though. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm being told, remember, there's no social media these days. So these are the days like, boy, the geezer's light skin, he's hench, he has a gold chain, and automatically you're like, that's the geezer everybody talking about. You get what I'm saying? And it was only until I kind of started doing one and two things with that organisation, big up Herman Wilson if he's watching, and it was through doing those different activities and then going on to other courses that made me realise that, you know what, youth work is my thing. I like working with people, but my biggest challenge was I never had that academic knowledge. So one of the things that I had at the time was I had a lot of support from youth workers and mentors. And that's why when I talk about my journey, I can't neglect those individuals that have kind of come amongst me to kind of help and support me. So when it got to the point now where I wanted to now go to university, I'm thinking, I don't feel like I'm ready for university because I don't really have I got the skills, but I ain't really got the paperwork, you know, no really GCSEs and you get what I'm saying? So I had the support at that time to go to university. And I actually had my youth workers write my application to go to university. So I'm kind of blessed in that sense that I kind of had a bunk up, you get what I'm saying? So when I finally got that letter come through saying, you can come for the interview, I've always known that writing things down has always been hard, but if you put me in front of someone, I can talk my way into anything. So gifted the gab. So when I've gone to Leicester now, so it's the Montford University, because I wasn't running youth work in Birmingham at the time. It was only Derby, I think Manchester, London, and Leicester. So Leicester, Derby were like the closest ones to home. So I thought, went Derby. You remember them days when we used to have the purple record of achievement? Lost it at Derby. Lost it, bro. But you need to understand everything that I've done since school.
So everything. You mean like it was like a portfolio?
Remember. So I'm left. Remember, they used to tell us at school that this is your
that's your bread, fam. Don't lose this.
And especially for a man that have come out of school with nothing. Like any little course that you've done.
I need that, fam.
Bro, I lost it.
Like, that's a big loss, you know.
I lost it, fam. It's like equipment.
Feel it for you, fam.
It's like a man saying, like you've got like 10 bags left in all of your savings, and the man's just like scammed you out of it and just like it's gone. Like that was the feeling. So now when I've now left, so I've had the interview at Derby and I had my record of achievement.
So they saw it.
So when I've gone to Leicester now, I didn't have it, but it's Leicester that I wanted to go because the Derby campus was like in the sticks, and I'm thinking I still want to be around kind of civilization, you know, the gym one. So when I went Leicester now, I'm just in here sweating because they're gonna be like, yo, we know you ain't got your GCSEs because it says it on the application form. So what have you done? So I'm thinking I ain't even got nothing to show them. So it's just gonna be a freestyle thing. And I just was straight with them. I just said to them, listen, I lost it. I just believe that, boom, I'm the type of person you need on the course. And I just kind of brought that hood kind of, yo, you need me on this course still. Like I might not know everything, but I think I can have some sort of benefit, and they let me on. So from that moment, starting from then, I'd say that 3 years, I would say I was more discovering myself, because I would say that, you know, it's something I say to the youth, you can't have the 1 foot in and 1 foot out thing. You get what I'm saying? You can't be this individual Monday to Friday, but then on the weekends, you're linking man and they're on a mad thing. It just didn't really kind of like add up. And when I said I was kind of discovering myself, that's when I learned I had dyslexia. And that kind of explained why the written thing I was always kind of shying away from. Because the process of information for my specific thing was what I always kind of ultimately struggled with. So when I kind of found I would say the key in terms of how to manage that, I would say that's how my academic level started to increase. So that's why when I talk about going on then to do a master's and then going on to do a PhD, is because I learned how to do it. I learned how to write. I learned how to engage in a certain type of way.
How long did it take you to build confidence to approach those things then, innit, to even jump on courses? Because I know there's people probably that will jump on a course or will fear to jump on a course as much as they want to do it because of like lack of reading or understanding or feeling like they're capable of reaching.
I think in most of the reality is most of these institutions right now, they're about money, innit? So they're not really designed to make you fail. If you fail, that's on you. Like 100% on you. There's student services, educational support. Like if you're really going through some hardship and trouble, they're sitting at the desk. So when I used to lecture at the university, I used to always say to them like, yo, my bedroom Jacob, he used to be like, how many of my students have come forward to you? I'd be like, boy, I ain't had no students for days. So a student can't say to me, yo, I'm struggling, you know, big man. And you can't really say that you're really finding this thing hard. Because my bedroom Jacob, which is saying, come sit at my table and I will show you stage by stage how to write this assignment. And he's saying, no one ain't knocked his door yet. You know what I'm saying? So the way that universities are designed, it's not there, but there's also a level of fear because in a lot of our cultures, we have that kind of pride issue where I don't really want to expose myself and say that really maybe I can't really read at the standard that you think because maybe I'm not worthy. But that's what kind of the runway to think. And I guess for me, I've come from a background of warriors and that mindset of you put yourself in the deep end, you just see what's going on and see how it happens. And I've always kind of been a risk taker with most of the stuff that I've done.
It proves it in your work, definitely, to be honest. Big time. So
when I left university, it was mad because I was looking for a job, and before it became Birmingham Mail, it used to be called Evening Mail. You remember?
Mail, come on.
You guys used to call it Evening Mail.
Back a bit
and my uncle used to work for the Evening Mail, and he said, "Yo, nephew, so I'm looking at ad about youth work." So I'm looking at this ad every week. It was there, Oakland Youth Centre. So I'm thinking, yo, this job's just like still here. And then
nowhere, you know.
Every single week I'm looking at this ad and I thought, you know what, I'm gonna apply for it still. Just see what I want. So I've applied for it now and they've come back to me like, yeah, we want you to come for an interview. So I'm sweating now.
Come on, fam.
Yo, rah, like third year uni. Remember, I haven't actually graduated yet.
Yeah, but
we're
this
getting
is your
an
thing
interview. So I've gone there now, but imagine though, I've gone there and some of my youth workers are applying for the jobs as well. So I'm looking at it like,
you're not gonna get this.
There's no way, because if you're my youth worker, I'm going against you. There's no way I'm gonna get the job. But what did I say to you? Application form is one thing, but throw Craig in the mix. I'm gonna be able to talk my thing. You get what I'm saying? So I've done my thing and I've got a team back. And I never forget, I was at my auntie's house and I was like, yo, I got the job, got gas. So I remember my first day working there, I met the manager. He just was kind of chatting to me about what my role's gonna be, rare. And for those that know, the Carnival King, Professor Black, he's actually got a workshop in the back of Oakland Centre, so the guy that does the carnivals.
Yeah.
So he had a workshop there.
Does he wear the hat?
Yeah. So I
my
remember,
man,
I remember him walking past and he was like, "Why? He's like, oh, the best son."
Yeah.
What do you mean by that? And he's just like, yeah, it's been a bit peakier still over the last couple of years.
At Oakland?
Yeah.
What year was this?
So this was 2009.
Yeah.
2008, 2009.
I remember the time.
Yeah. So 2008, 2009. So I'm trying to gauge him now. Like, you can't say a statement like that to me. Like, what do you mean? And it's just like, yo, it's been a bit of a madness. Before you've come here, like, people have left sick and some of the youths, them have gone with a madness inside the building. So I'm thinking, is this why the ad was in there so long? Everybody knew but me. So imagine now, I've now been told that there's bare youths that can't come into the building because they're banned. So I'm saying banned for what? Like, attack staff, spit, go on with themselves. So I'm thinking, I've inherited all of this madness. Yeah. So all I've done is just old school. I just phone a couple man like, yo, I'm here now, you know, like.
Yeah.
And I said, you know what, I don't think I can kind of bring forth this ban, because who am I to bring a ban and I don't really know what go on with youth.
Of course.
So you can imagine that didn't really go down well, because everyone's like, what do you mean you can't just met the youth and come back in and whatever. So I'll never forget the first day I come in and, you know, a couple of the youths, they've passed now. But I remember them being in the building that first day and I just thought, I remember you looking me in my face and was billing a spliff.
Swear down.
Just looking at me like that. And I just thought to myself,
bad boy.
This is what this is all about.
Yeah.
Everything I learned at you. It's out the window. It's all out the window. All the theories, you communicate, you build trust. And I'm just looking at me like, yo, I'm about to bond this split. Right here. Right now. Yeah, see, right now. I'm saying, bro, you're not allowed to. And he's just looking at me in my face, just like, I know. Yeah, I hear what you're saying still, but I'm just doing all of that.
Bro, listen, explain the journey, because you know what it is, I've seen real talk, real action.
Yeah.
You get me? Oh my days.
So that's where it starts though.
So to see the faces from all the man them that are rapping on the thing, like the people I ain't seen in years, people that you wouldn't expect to see on camera, like you're not gonna see man on camera doing this. You know what I'm trying to say? And I was thinking, did that cause like some form of... There must have been people somewhere who was like, Rare, how come you from the ends have put my man
But that's what I'm saying, but you need to understand the context though. So that's what I'm saying. So when I release the band now and everybody's able to come in the building, I'm seeing for man for what they are on that day. Okay. You know what I'm saying? I can't talk about what you done a year ago, 6 months ago. I don't know, I wasn't here. So I'm saying to man that, yo, boom. As I said, I phoned the man them. I'm here now. Introduce me to the new set of youths, because obviously when I'm growing up, I've disappeared to Leicester for a couple of years. All these new set of youths, I don't know them. But interesting enough, when they're coming into the building now, I'm looking at you like, who's your brother? Swear down. Like, yo, your brother with me, like, we went to school and rare. So that's how the kind of relationship kind of started to build amongst them.
So you would say that gave you leverage then?
100%. 100%.
So what, you were like calling man into meetings and I'm like, Ray, how do you know my man?
I'm just looking at a man thinking, you look like Andre, you look like this man and what's your second name? Williams. Like, who's your people? Who's your older brother? Who's your sister? You get what I'm saying? And it's like, yo, your sister was in my class at school. You get what I'm saying? So like those kind of little things now, I know they kind of probably run back now. Like, yo, who's my man that says he knows? Nah, my man's 30. You get what I'm saying? So I feel like that was kind of the opportunity for me to step in. But then I took it a step further. Because then when I wanted to start introducing projects into the building, as you can imagine, prior to me coming there, it was kind of like, there probably wasn't a certain level of structure. So they're just used to coming to the building and doing whatever they want. So when we kind of started to incorporate that structure now, we're going to do boxercise, Elijah. We're going to do real talk in the background. We're going to do debating. We're going to do music and arts in the other room. And people are like, nah, we just want to come here and play football and play PlayStation. I'm saying, nah, we're going to do this thing properly. So as a collective of us as workers, we're like, nah, this is how we need to kind of structure the thing. And over time, they start to respect it. Because one of the things I was trying to establish was, you know what? This is a safe space for us. You ain't going to get these type of opportunities for nobody else out here. So no one ain't going to get banded up in here. No one's getting robbed in here. And no one ain't going to be no disrespecting in here. Yes, we're going to have disagreements and whatever, but that's how it's going to move. So when you look on some of my earlier YouTube videos, you're going to see things like the hot pepper challenge. And look at the man that's in the video. You get what I'm saying? And you're seeing certain man, you probably now 2021, you're like, rah, these men are known for whatever. But that was my rites of passage.
Yeah.
I'm doing all of these things with these man, and then it's kind of developing that, saying that youth work approach. So now all of the things that I'm learning at uni is now making sense. You get what I'm saying? But one of the things that was bothering me was we would go like Alton Towers or we'd go on a residential and have an amazing time. Come back to the ends now. As soon as we Lixar Road outside KFC, the bus drops everyone out. Mad thing happened.
Yeah, everyone's together.
And in my head, like,
how is this happening?
How have I just spent so much P on you lot for just to come back and do a madness on Sar Road? Like, I don't get it. And that was kind of what my frustration was, and that was the reason why I went into criminology. So my foundation was youth work, but I wanted to understand why they were committing crime though. Why were they continuously doing that if we're giving them everything that they need? And it was only until going to do my master's in criminology, I started to understand the mind of a criminal, to really kind of understand, yes, despite the fact that there might be individuals in their life that are important, but due to their environment and the things that they're exposed to, that's the reason why they keep making those particular types of decisions. And that's where Real Talk came from. So Real Talk was based on this idea that I want to give young people a voice. I want to give individuals a voice that oftentimes not heard. So the first big project I did was, if you may remember, Advice to a Son. So all I did was, them were the days when we had flip-top cameras, remember those? HD cameras. Remember Corey's in one star.
Come on, fam.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it was like £70. You know what I'm saying? So the little thing, you press the thing, the USB flips out, you plug the thing in, that's your thing. You press record, so that's all I was doing. So I just said, if there was one question that, for the youngers, what would it be? Advice to a Son. So it wasn't even a thing where I was thinking, I want to get all of the serious man on road. I just wanted to get a perspective of the individuals I was seeing every single day.
But they were all in it though.
And it became quite organic. So I'm seeing a man like, yo, let me go to my car real quick. What advice would you give to your younger self? A man's just like, I'm not even sure if I should jump on this thing, because I'm still living a kind of life where it's a bit. You know what I'm saying? Nah, it's not about that. That wasn't my perspective. I'm saying, but you still have something to say. And there's going to be somebody that's going to listen to that. So man was like, you know what, cool. So now, once it's been developed now, that's when the backlash come in. So man are like, how's this man on your documentary? Young sisters in the community are hollering at me like, yo, but my man did this to me outside Rococo on Broad Street. And I'm like, but that's got nothing to do with my project. You get what I'm saying? So to an extent, taking that risk and bringing those young men in to have that perspective, that came with that. But what I was arguing was people weren't really understanding what it was that I was trying to... I was getting those young people to talk to their younger self. That's all I was doing. I went here to talk about any other issue that's taking place. So as you can imagine, and the girls were like, nah, that's unfair that you're doing it with the man then. What about with the women? So that's where the level stepped up a little bit. So then obviously my close friend, Matthew Popo, that might be watching this, his Mrs. Emma sings. And I'm just like, I heard something one time. So I was like, this song here needs to be mighty. Everything was organic. And I would honestly say between 2009 and 2012, that my experiences at Oakland is what bossed me. Because I would say I've been doing the same thing all these years. Nothing ain't changed. But one of the things that I learnt was, I think I was one of the first, if not one of the earliest, to jump on social media early. And document the work. Okay. So you might remember those first Real Talk. I was like, yo, checking in, checking out.
Sitting on the steps, man. Sitting on the steps, bro.
Man, as whatever. And all I'm doing is talking about what's happening in the community. And there was two perspectives, because some of the men are like, yo, this is a good thing, the people know it's a good thing. But then some of the other youths are like, nah, this is kind of like dry snitching at the same time. Because how do you know that that's when off in 24 hours? But what people are not understanding is that I'm actually that close to the fire.
I was going to say that as well, because in the videos, it was like reactive. Like I'm dropping a video yesterday. I'm thinking yesterday there was a killing in Winston.
And everybody knows it.
It was like, is that how sharp you are? You get me?
So it was mad because I remember there was like a rumour like, yo, is my man working with the feds? Like, is my man working how does he know that information so quick? But obviously I'm not looking at it like that. I'm just looking at it as the man in that phoning me in the moment, like, yo fam, man's just gone to the hospital. What for? Fly to the hospital now, such and such is just been stabbed, shot, whatever, or a man might just drop out. So in that moment, that feeling that I'm feeling whilst I'm there with their families, I'm just like, yo, I want to vent about that tomorrow morning. But that's not even 24 hours yet. So now when I'm venting on that like 8 o'clock and the video now drops at 12 midday, you're thinking, how is my man known this information. Like, who's giving the information? But the information's only come from the individuals that I'm working with every single day. And I think that throughout that particular process, you know, working with those particular same youths now, when we then move forward now to 2015 and 16, where Brum started to get real hot, and we know that Birmingham was the gun crime capital.
I didn't know that, you know.
Of Europe. It was at that particular point now where people are looking like, wait there, but you've worked with enough of these youths. How can you connect with them? And I think that that's what's kind of birthed a lot of the stuff that I'm doing now.
I was literally about to say that, like, all that would have birthed it. Like, you coming from where you've come from and hit it, how you've hit it, you had to be someone of your background then, or someone similar to the background, in order to be in touch with such people, to be able to voice what's actually going on and hit it in the way and angle you've hit it in. Like, it's basically perfect. I don't think there was any other way where it could have been done like this. Do you get what I'm saying? Because anyone from outside, because they weren't raised in it, they never grew up around it, they don't have that underlying understanding. So they won't go that far and beyond as you've gone to get the depth and to think, okay, cool, let me now do criminology because I need to understand this now. Do you get what I'm saying? It's just, that's what's wrong, that needs to change. And that's it. And it's like, that's it for everybody, but everyone's different and coming from different places, like you've already acknowledged. So it's proper, man. Like, that's why I think what you do is real good. You get me?
So was it like a community centre that you worked in?
Youth centre, so it was for the city council. So for those that know the history of Oakland used to be a community centre.
All the carnivals.
Carnivals, events.
Everything.
But what had happened was, a period in time, someone got killed outside the building. So at that time, the community centre shut down. Birmingham City Council took it back and made it part of Birmingham Youth Service. Right. So a lot of people didn't know that transition. So even when I was there, a man would come and be like, yo, me want to rent it out for our christening party. And like, now we don't use the building no more. So there was a period where there was calm and nothing going on. And that's when the advert came out. So there was work that was taking place with young people, but it wasn't known to the world like that. So when I was there, even letting Hollywood School know on Unsar Road, that, you know, Oakland's is there, right? And they're like, Oakland's swear down, Oakland's has been out. Like, it's been open for time. So getting people to kind of recognise that the building's still there and the building does have use was that shift between community centre into youth centre. And that's what it was. It was a youth centre building.
Right. And working with the youths that you worked with, did you ever get yourself into a situation where it was kind of sticky, where it was borderline, like, they tried to do you something or anything?
Nah, you know, I feel like I was blessed in that sense that I never had one of those situations. And the way that I kind of do, I used to always kind of engage with my youths is I meet them at the level that they meet me. Right. And as I said, a lot of the projects, in my opinion, were tailored to the way that there was. So everybody likes fighting. Can we go in the boxing gym? Let's see if everyone can really do this boxing thing. So if you look at a lot of the videos, for those of my early videos on Facebook, again, you're going to see certain youths now, and they're getting their tasting. So even if a man is like that, he's like, boy, the fist thing with Craig might be kind of long. You know what I'm saying? So it was meeting like that to get anybody. But there's a philosophy behind that as well. That's what assistance is all about. So sports and assistance talks about the idea and the notion that if you're engaging with someone that, let's say, is kind of hyper masculine, you meet them at that hyper.
What's hyper masculine, fam?
So that kind of over aggressiveness of one's male behaviour. So you know, like how we're talking, like, man, go gym, everybody's hench, everybody's. So that will be classified as a form of hyper masculinity. Even when you're talking about the youths on road now, a man's got a little knife, one man wants to carry a sword, the next man wants to carry a zombie knife. There are all forms of hyper masculinity. So when you see things on social media and music videos, it's a perfect example of hyper masculinity. So youths looking at thinking, oh, that's how I need to be. I need to always be hyper aggressive. I can't just be calm. I can't just be humble.
Let me get into that, because I know when you start talking about social media, I know internet beef, making sense of that's my PhD that's focus. Your PhD. Let me get into that. But you keep. I don't remember how I met you, Craig. I don't remember, but your face that I've always known. Everyone knows Craig. But when I got to know what kind of man you were, is when it's for a mutual friend. You get me? He owned a cafe. You get me?
Yeah.
Oh, you can't say this geezer's name, you know, Voldemort, you know. You can't say my man's name and that, he who can't be named and that. But like, you know what I'm saying? I got to know what kind of man you are, you get me? So understand the people that like have had a profound impact on my life and that I respect Craig. So again, you get me? Pleasure to have you here. But I was going to say, you keep mentioning boxing, you get me? And obviously, even in building my company then, local boxing thing, as you know, you get me, I had to like go through the archives, look at the videos to try and build, you know what I'm trying to say? And like, what do I find? I find a video of Craig, fam, and my trainer going ham for leather,
Western
bro.
Road.
Western Road.
Yeah,
you know what it is, fam? I don't have the video, you get me?
Yeah.
That's a life, I got the video. You get me? Right here, you get me, like, you must be mad, fam.
Found it.
What do you mean, fam?
Am I the one that I'm getting
right back now.
Am I getting brooked up in the thing?
It's my company, so I own the rights to the video now, you get me?
Am I getting brooked up in the thing though?
We're gonna see, you get me? So obviously, you get me? I thought, let me just, yeah?
Yeah, these are
Wait,
days,
is that you?
Yeah,
Alright then.
me.
Yeah?
These are my kickboxing days, bro.
Alright then.
I got my kickboxing stance.
Yeah?
Zion gives man a pasting, innit?
You listen, you don't ramp, fam. But, ooh. Alright. You quick though, fam. You quick, fam. Is that the basketball thing, yeah?
Yeah, I used to, martial arts was my thing.
Okay.
Growing up. So I used to know my uncle Hector's karate man, innit? So
Hector's your uncle?
yeah, my dad's brother.
Listen, look at the page. Type in that page. Or
Zion boxing, yeah.
So that way, all you put all your things in there, you get me?
There's only one, sure, but there's
Only one Hector, you know.
There's a new Hector that's
Captain
around.
Boogie.
Or Captain Boogie. That used to be outside the library, Soho Road. If you're from Handsworth, you can't not know who Hector is.
Can't not know Hector.
But there's other Hector now that's doing like stuff in the community and that as well.
The one that cooks food, he's part of my family.
Okay, I don't know who that Hector is. Is that the one that's doing the current work in the parks and stuff? Yeah. So that's the new Hector.
Okay, see.
Respect that Hector still. But yeah.
So it's safe. So internet beef, making sense of social media, gangs and violence in Birmingham. Obviously, you got a man like Bill Gates who's made whatever and become whatever off his project, and his project was Microsoft. This is your project, innit? This is your bread.
This is so this PhD is my whole story. So the reason why I decided to do a PhD really was from an academic perspective, is I wanted to continue the story from Professor Carl Chin's work. Professor Carl Chin was the individual that let us know about the Peaky Blinders and the Aston Sluggers. But after he wrote his book, the conversation finished. So my PhD kind of does a timeline from that moment up until now. So talking about like the kind of the Irish, the Windrush era, you know, talking about the issues in community around racism, and then we're talking about like the groups from Inchai to Burger Bar to Johnson's to some of the new groups that are out there now. So it's kind of like that journey, but more specifically, it starts really at 2015 and 16 when Birmingham was classified as a gun crime capital. And at that particular moment, I was working with a group of young boys at that time, and there was a specific music video that was going to come out.
Yeah.
And I remember having this conversation with these boys saying, you know what, I don't think you should release this video, you know, because I think it might spark a bit of a madness. And it was one of its kind because it was more specific. And I think that's the difference between when we're talking about just general rap and we're talking about drill music. It was specific to what had happened literally within the last 7 days.
That's how it is. It's mad.
So when the video came out now, as you can, everything that I predicted happened. Man are getting locked up. There was tit for tat going on between two areas, and I'm saying the violence has always existed, but what did social media and music videos do to contribute to this conversation? And that's all my unique selling point is of what a PhD, because all a PhD is, what new knowledge are you bringing to the world? So my focus was, I didn't want to chat about London, Manchester, Liverpool. I want to talk about my block. I want to talk about what's happening in my community and how the youths them can be so in tune with what's going on, but also be led astray by something that they're saying is positive. And I think that brings the debate about drill music in its current context, because obviously there's two strands of the argument. That one, of course, it's economical, like people see that you can bust from this, you can make it. But I'm saying, but there's also a level of destruction that we need to have that conversation about. And I feel like it's something that we don't talk about enough in our own communities. We like to talk about the glitz and the glory, but when a man releases a music video or posts something on social media, understand that on my block 24 hours later, there's a gun going off and the man might get lit. And that's the reality that I want to talk about in my kind of journey. And I think by kind of doing that, gives real insight into the next generation that are saying, all right, well, I want to work with young people that are impacted by these things. I want to work with young people that maybe going astray on this particular level, or even those that are doing the music thing, but to show them a certain level.
Musicians in this room, I wanted to ask you, because you did mention something about like how people aren't really like looking at the people that are using the way we do music and how brass it is and how like culturally pulling it is, but they're making a lot of money off it. You know what I'm trying to say? But you got musicians in this room, and I don't want to say I fall into it, but we all kind of fall into it sometimes. You know what I'm trying to say? Is there any advice for the musicians out there, Carl?
It's not even that, because one of the things I don't want to do is kind of have that conversation, and I'm very mindful about what I say and also what I write, because you also got to bear in mind that this narrative fits the narrative of our oppressors that want to say, see, he said it. You get me? So if he said it,
you're playing that card.
So, no, I'm not doing that. So to the audience, don't worry. You know what I'm saying? I'm not doing that.
Doing that.
But at the same time, I'm saying internally in our communities, we need to have a conversation though, and there's a level of accountability that we also need to take. And we all kind of say these things like, I don't see myself as a role model. But it's kind of hard not to when you're in the public figure and you're on social media every single day. Youths are going to, by default, look up to you. Like, I might not set myself up as a role model. You might not even, but a man's going to watch your YouTube video and thinking, how did my man do that thing on the bar? You know what I'm saying? I want to be like him. You know what I'm saying? And we know psychologically, people learn and they see things through images and through sound. Images shape reality, don't they? So people are going to see things and make particular decisions. So when you're talking about advice to the rappers, I personally wouldn't say about advice to the rappers, but all I would say to them is, number one, accountability is important, but we also have to spread light on also those companies and those organizations that profit off death, profit off our bloodshed, because we know that this is a multi-billion industry.
Huge.
When we're talking about murder, when we're talking about prostitution, when we're talking about sex, when we're talking about violence, just go to Netflix. Narcos, look how much Narcos made on Netflix.
Power.
Ozark, Power, Snowfall, and all of these things. So we know that what we're talking about is almost like a small microcosm of a wider net of what's taking place. So that's why when you ask the question, why I'm so sheepish to answer, because the question denotes that the problem is just the rappers. You understand what I'm saying? So that's why I don't want to say, that's what it is, because then it's almost like, well, it's just the rapper's fault. And that's why in my work I talk about the lottery ticket and say that in the same way that the music industry is almost like shotting. So a man comes to you with an offer and a situation and says, yo, bam, I got this, I can put you in this situation. You do that, you give me a little money later when the situation is sorted. And the music industry operates exactly the same. That a lot of people they're going into contracts and they're not even reading these things. So they're going into it, they're making these particular decisions blindly, and they're having to do something in order to make profit for the institution. Yes, they might get a little change in the process, but all I'm saying is, when you're in the booth talking about you've licked a man down or you're going to lick her up or whatever, know that there's an element of disrespect, know that there's an element of guilt, shame, hurt, what an individual's feeling from hearing that. And a man might be like, well, who are you to even be chatting about me in that situation? So when we talk about those then tit-for-tat situations, we can't deny, and it's something that we like to deny sometimes, that these things have a role to play. So a lot of artists will be like, listen, there's violence that's always existed. I agree. People were violent before we made this music. I agree. But when you say, shh, I shank, shh, what you're saying is now you're taking the piss now. You're taking the piss now. So all right, then now I need to do something. But now we're in the time of social media now. Not only am I going to do it, I'm also going to document it. So then that goes on social media. So those that are observing, the ones that are looking at you like role models, are saying, "Raw, so you're more serious than my man, because when you did my man and you put him on camera outside the train station, but now my man stripped you naked, so then the levels go up even more, and then you heard me talk about hypermasculinity. Everybody always wants to do something more extreme than the next person. So what we see now is those behaviours manifest, and it's not even necessarily a gang thing now. So you've got youths now that are involving in these particular behaviours that might be from the ends, but not necessarily known to be involved in gangs. Am I making sense? So a youth then goes online and says, I'm from this area, and I don't like you, man, because you're from over there. But the man them are from the block that may rep area don't even know who this youth is. But to those individuals on the outside, because you're saying that you're from this area, then you must be. So then what's happening now? Youths are not only getting stabbed, they're getting stabbed and shot. So when we look at some of the recent incidents, even within Brum right now, and you're looking at the level of violence, you're thinking, wait there, how has this even happened? How is a youth getting shot on the corner and he's not even involved in anything, because that's what those that are involved are saying. These youths are not even involved in anything. But what we're not taking into consideration is things like social media and things, and how disrespect takes place on social media platforms like Snapchat, Instagram, TikTok, and so on and so forth. And I think that's the conversation that, in my opinion, that we're not having. What the root causes are, the number of factors, not positioning the question as if it's just our fault, but there's also a level of accountability. And I think moving the conversation forward is also then about, well, what do the solutions then look like? And I think those are the parts of the conversation that I think that's missing. If you're not going to go to a club and spend that amount of money and then not remember what you've done the night before, if you spend that £1,000, you can go Africa. You know, countries you can go to in Africa and live luxury
when you
with the
like
things that you're doing. And it's only until like this year you have to break things down. And this is my point, that we can't just keep preaching at the youths. We can't just keep telling them this is what's happening and this is why you shouldn't do what you're doing. We have to show and prove.